So as a lot of you know, I've had the Samsung S23 Ultra since around launch, courtesy of the Snapdragon Insiders program. I really love this phone and I've had really no major complaints with it. One of the best phones of 2023. So I just got back from Samsung Unpacked and I was gifted with the S24 Ultra. I'm really excited to review this. Huge shout out to Snapdragon and Samsung. So today I'm going to be going over just a quick comparison between these two devices, kind of a first impressions of the S24 Ultra. If you've never been here before, my name is Galen and this is Galen's Gadgets, and I want to thank you so much for joining my channel today. I really hope you enjoy the video. And before we go any further, I'd like to give a huge shout out to Snapdragon and the Snapdragon Insiders program for the experience that I had at Samsung Unpacked, and a huge shout out to Samsung for sending me out this device to review on my channel. I really appreciate it, and it's just such a good opportunity. So first off, we're just going to go over the design and feel and physicals of the device. In terms of size, these phones are going to be pretty much the exact same. They both have 6.8-inch screens, which is the most important part to me. But in terms of dimensions, I believe the S23 Ultra is slightly bigger just on paper in terms of measurements, but the S24 Ultra is like 1 gram lighter, which none of that you could really like see in person or tell like right off the bat. The first big difference that I would say I'm going to mention in this video is actually the screen on both the devices, not in terms of like the screen quality or anything, but the screen curvature. So the S23 Ultra is slightly more curved, but you could just like definitely tell like holding both phones. The flatter screen on the S24 Ultra definitely makes it easier to hold, in my opinion, and do things such as write with the S Pen. One thing I was discussing with other people who went to the event is actually like the smaller variants, the S23 Plus and the S24. They actually feel exactly like an iPhone just because of like how flat and even the sides are now. Just that lack of curvature just definitely shows in the smaller variants more so than it does in the bigger S24 Ultra. Durability is something that Samsung really advertised as being a lot better this year, so we will see how that is over time. Personally, I have not seen like that big of a durability enhancement in everyday use. I will say the titanium added to this device does make it feel a lot different than the S23 Ultra, especially in terms of temperature. It just gets a lot colder, a lot quicker. For example, us insiders were just riding around on a bus, and the bus had a really good air conditioning in it. So everyone immediately realized like how cold the devices got over time. So I really hope that helps with things such as thermals and performance in the future. Going back to durability, I did not bring up the fact that there is an updated screen. In terms of durability, we are using the Corning Gorilla Glass Armor, which is going to be an upgrade over the Gorilla Glass from last year. And it's also going to make just the touch response and things like that a lot better on the S24 Ultra. In terms of numbers, the S24 Ultra is going to be a lot brighter with the new 2600 nit screen versus 1750 that was on last year. So just naturally, this phone will get a lot brighter, so it's going to do a lot better in highly lit environments, as well as the reflective resistance on the S24 Ultra is going to be a lot better this year. So I don't want to 100% dive into cameras yet, mainly because I do not think we're on the most updated camera app. That's something that's most likely going to get updated closer to launch, because we are around 2 weeks before the phone even launches. So definitely want to hold off on like a full camera comparison between this and any other phone that I have. But I will say, in terms of numbers, it is slightly better. Most of the cameras are the same except for the telephoto. There is a general misconception going around that the 5x telephoto from this year is going to be worse than the 10x optical zoom from last year, but I will say I think it's going to be a lot better just because of the higher megapixel count in that 5x optical zoom. It was 50 versus last year only being 12 megapixels, so I'm really excited to see what the full performance is going to be like once we get a few camera updates. In terms of performance, the jump between the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 and the 8 Gen 2 and the S22 to S23 was massive, and I really hope to see the same type of performance increase from the S23 with the 8 Gen 2 to the S24 with the 8 Gen 3. One area in which I think I can kind of see a big increase is with the AI processing in the 8 Gen 3 of the S24 Ultra versus last year's S23. just because the NPU by numbers, it's going to be about twice as fast and 40% more efficient. So that should really help with a lot of the AI features that Samsung implemented this year that I will actually mention when we talk about software. In terms of software, the S24 Ultra is going to have the obvious advantage just because it launched with One UI 6.1. And with that updated software version comes a lot of really cool AI features that are not on the S23 Ultra currently. I do think a few are going to come over, but again, to get all of these AI features, you will need the more updated phone, of course. So now I'm going to talk about 3 of my favorite AI features that were announced at Samsung Unpacked. So first off, Chat Assist. So what Chat Assist does is it basically really helps you out with rephrasing text-based messages in your email app or through text messages to a different type of tone if you want to convey a certain type of tone. So I would definitely use this a lot for my content creation, of course, reaching out to brands and things like that. Or even just general work. I do a lot of work from my phone. I may need to respond to a message or an email from my phone, and just being able to rephrase that using AI to get the message out with the best appropriate tone is going to be extremely helpful. Another cool AI feature that Samsung announced, and it's already present on these phones, is generative edit. Basically what this will do, it will give you the same kind of functionality that Google's Magic Editor does, where you're basically able to move or remove or resize different type of objects in photos. So I think this is extremely helpful for editing or photoshopping things on the go. So my favorite new AI feature announced on this phone is going to be the circle to search with Google. So it's basically Google Lens across every app on your phone. You could do this for videos, you could do this for images, you could do this for anything that is like currently displayed on your phone. And what you would do, you just hold the home button in that app, and then you're able to search any object or a piece of data or a piece of text on your phone, and you'll get a very quick Google search. For most objects, it will give you like a price of the object. So I think this is extremely helpful when you're looking for things quick that you haven't seen before. So the last area that I'm going to cover in this comparison is battery life. So battery life is probably the area in which we've seen the least amount of change, so that's why I'm saving it for last. And I kind of have mixed feelings about that because battery life is something that's really important to me, and I kind of wanted to see Samsung make some changes here. So in terms of size, the battery is going to be the exact same as last year. I can't really complain about that because the S23 Ultra would easily get me through a day and a half with no problems at all. But my issue is that the charging is also the exact same. I really wish there was like some sort of innovation in terms of charging in the United States, because in other countries there are really phones out here with 67 watt charging. Samsung only has 45 watts, but with those faster charging speeds, you could literally charge your phone from 0 to 100 in under 30 minutes, and I think that's like absolutely amazing and would really benefit any consumer, but no one in the United States has really made that jump yet. Okay, so I want to thank you guys so much for joining and sticking through the video if you made it this far. Again, thank you so much for watching this, and I will be creating a lot more content on the S24 Ultra and even comparing it with my Pixel 8 Pro. So if you want to see those videos, feel free to like, subscribe, and anything else to make sure my videos show up on your page. And if you have any other questions or about the S24 Ultra or anything else, should you upgrade from the S23 Ultra, I'm going to do a separate video with that as well. But if you have any more questions, feel free to leave them in the comments and I'll be glad to answer. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys later.